What changed in Helldivers 2? The game feels a lot more fun now when using certain support weapons to kill the bigger enemies. Chargers, behemoth chargers, titans, and impalers. That is phenomenal. They nerfed the HMG though, reducing durable damage by a decent bit, and that is a questionable change. Maybe they have ideas for a minigun Gatling weapon that has a backpack and actually feels useful to use. Who knows? We now take more damage effectively. We get 2-shot by warriors and other bugs because now we take reduced headshot damage, but our limbs take extra damage. A single attack from the smallest mob can mess up your legs, causing movement impairment, your arms making your aim worse, and hemorrhage your chest, causing bleeding. In all cases, you want to pop a stim for the smallest of attacks. It wouldn't be a problem if the Helldivers had protein, creatine, and glycinate. Why? I don't know. Use code OHDO for 10% off at echovision.com, and maybe consider buying the Odo Dojo coin. Really? Getting hit anywhere breaks a limb. I said a long time ago that if they fixed that, it'd be bad. Because I read in the patch notes once that limbs aren't breaking easily. And I said, who cares? That's fine. Because now getting hit once means you have to stim. The exposed limbs of charger behemoths, chargers, and impalers, aka the nuggets, are tankier now. You have to put in far more shots to kill them. It takes 2 grenade pistol shots, 2 crossbow shots. Before, it take you 1 grenade pistol, and with the currently buffed crossbow, it'd take you 1 shot as well. It was way more fun stripping it with a railgun or an anti-tank shot, and then shooting it once with a different weapon that did big damage and taking it out. Or taking not as many shots from an Ensign Breaker, for instance, or even a Scorcher. Way back when it took you 4 Scorcher shots, now I think it takes you close to double that. It's in the patch notes, I think, so I'm not saying it's a secret change, but I am saying it's a not great change, and it sort of gives us a buff versus the impalers and charger behemoths, but also a nerf at the same time. Some enemies supposedly do more damage now. I can't prove that, don't plan to, but I'm definitely dying faster now than I ever have before. The reason we take more damage now is the devs probably heard us talk about being glass cannons, and they didn't realize we were already made of glass, so once they gave us the cannon, they wanted to make us weaker. But all that did was turn us from being glass to paper. And it's not strong paper like construction. It's more of the Dixie cups that you put some water in, wait like 5 minutes, and all of a sudden it has 0 structural integrity and just collapses. That's how it feels to be a Helldiver sometimes. You get folded by the smallest of mobs almost. Even wearing medium or heavy armor doesn't change that much. It's 10 to 15% less damage, and around that for headshot damage reduction as well. It's not life-changing, and you're slower versus mobs that are now track stars. Alpha Warriors, namely. We're being overrun by the new 4 for Snore deal in Helldivers 2. Alpha Commanders, Hive Guards, Bile Spewers, and Nursing Spewers. I'm seeing these at a rate I never did before.
I hate Alpha Commanders so bad.
Oh, they're the worst.
They're my favorite.
I hate when they do that, like, triple jump forward, quadruple, quintuple jump forward.
Missions have different seeds, and some are more inclined to spawn certain monsters. ICBM is the Bile Spewers. The Razor Flag mission is now Nursing Spewers almost always. But the Egg mission, Nuke Nursery, those tend to spawn or give you a chance to spawn a bunch of Hunters, Wilburs, and the Flying Rats. But recently, I do those missions, and I just see the most Hive Guards and Alpha Commanders I've ever seen in my entire life. To the point that I pull up to a little bug nest of sorts. It's just those 2 mobs. I'm not sure what happened, but before, I would get a lot of hunter-focused missions. There'd be a bunch of Hunters, Wilburs, and the Flying Fleabags. Nowadays, it is almost entirely made up of this garbage. Why can't we get an update that doesn't drastically change the spawn rates in a way that makes no sense? Hey guys, we buffed your support weapons to be better against heavy units, Chargers, Bile Titans, Impalers. Awesome, great. But we also made it so you'll see 1,000 Hive Guards and Alpha Commanders. Pump the brakes there, lads. Why are we doing that? That sounds terrible. It doesn't make any sense. This is exactly why I'm not having fun playing the game right now against the bugs. Like when the update dropped, I was pretty amped, but I was like cautiously optimistic. I'm playing a bit. I realized that my railgun takes 3 shots to kill a Bile Titan, which is cool. It takes 4 versus a Charger Behemoth. 0 sense made at all. That makes no sense. And then I'm noticing constantly that there's so many of these freaking Terrible mobs. Hive guards, alpha commanders. On level 9 difficulty, level 8 doesn't matter. There's so many of them. You can run certain guns to deal with them. If you run grenade launcher, you probably don't think about it, but you have to run a supply backpack with grenade launcher to handle these guys and not want to just alt F4. And I think that some folks may not notice it because when a bug breach happens, they throw in an orbital napalm barrage, and guess what? All the alpha commanders and hive guards get deleted. Players have grievances with ragdolling versus the automatons because it happened so frequently, and when it did happen, chances are you would just die. Your character gets knocked over, takes forever to get back up, and in the process, you're getting shot by other enemies or the same one, and you just end up getting deleted. It was improved by making it so rockets for most enemies have reduced explosion radiuses, which means a ragdoll can't happen as often. They also gave rocket devastators and gunships a finite amount of rockets to be shot. But even with those improvements, they for some reason changed the cannon arm on the Hulk Bruiser to a bunker turret, which if you know about that, it does a lot of damage and it will ragdoll you from a decent distance. It can miss and knock you over. For what reason, I don't know. It was unnecessary. It looks kind of cool, but it feels kind of bad. It can probably be improved easily, but it's just another addition to changes that we see that don't improve the experience when all we're looking for is just a better time. I'm not being mean by saying these things. I'm just noticing a pattern. When the game had its first update, people were hoping to get a bit more tankiness for the medium and heavy armor. Instead, every single armor essentially got weaker because our helmets lost their secret buff that gave us more armor, and I think stamina and movement speed increased depending on the helmet you wore. That meant that instead of getting 3-shot, we now got 2-shot. Everyone got weaker. Time to kill was made faster when the enemies hit us. Not a great time. And throughout the months, we've gotten some slight buffs here and there to armor, but not a big deal. And then all of a sudden, we now got even weaker because they nerfed headshot damage, but now we take increased limb damage and get 2-shot by warriors. Warriors that have alpha commanders that can spawn them that are faster than most mobs in the game. Helldivers 2 is better with the current update than the very previous one, but how would the game feel if we had all the buffs that we do now and we just subtract all the random things that have happened to the game that didn't need to? Increasing accuracy of the automatons and the bugs, making them go for headshots more often, changing their AI and how they move around you, making patrols go straight to your forehead, increasing the damage you take constantly. How would the game feel? I think better than it does right now. Challenging but fun is the goal. Injecting arbitrary difficulty doesn't lead to a very fun experience, and I wouldn't say it's challenging either, because what happens is players just find new ways to cheese the game. You make the enemies crazy to deal with, like we had for a long time, just run away. Because the objectives don't take much to complete in the first place. And I think that that is the focus that they should probably have. Making the objectives more mechanically intensive. Make it require more time, but in a way that's somewhat interesting. Puzzles. I think puzzles is a big deal. We have that one puzzle game that's very short with the refuel mission, the water drop thing. Terminal that you have to line up the pipes. People are really bad at that, and it's a whole 3 options. You could make it more of a puzzle aspect. That'd be fun. You could have more minigame things like Helldivers 1 with the minefield for side objectives. I think changing the main objective, side objectives, and even the map layouts, if possible, would be massive. By map layouts, I mean new missions. An underground where you can't use orbitals and eagles. Maybe a full-on mission for that. I'd live for it. I'm getting kind of sick of seeing everything die to orbitals and eagles. I'm not asking for them to get nerfed. I'm just saying that after a while, it'll get kind of boring when your whole team has orbital napalm barrage and bug breaches don't exist. Anyway, that's a video. Thanks for watching and have a good day. Laters.